Hanging out here in Wurm Unlimited today. I'm on the Sklotopolis server, as I usually am. This time around, what we're doing is a sailing event. It's a bit of a fun event for players, put on by players. There are some staff members present, but for the most part, this is all player run. It's going to be a lot of fun, I think. And basically right now, as you're seeing in front of me, people are running around and getting into various boats to start the event. And we're going to take a trip. There will be some prizes for the players on the way. All these boats were created and built by Elfin. They are... so nobody had to sail up here, basically, and all that fun stuff. And it's just going to be a neat trip around an area on this server that was... if not the first settled, one of the first settled. And so there's probably going to be some cuts and some bad edits and other things of that nature, but you know how it goes. And basically, I'm also going to be taking screenshots, so you'll see my interface disappear when I do that, and then the Steam thing pop up. And so it's not going to be the most professional video in the world, but it's just going to be a fun record of the type of events we do here. If you're looking for more information on Wurm Unlimited, I've got other videos in my on my YouTube channel. I've got a playlist, I think. If I don't, I'm probably going to have one, because I'm going to try to record more of these events as we go along. Suppressing a burp there, sorry. And we'll have to see how that goes. And the panning may not be the best, and I may not be the smoothest, but I'm doing the best I can. So, this area is not too far a distance from the original spawn town. There have been 3 spawn towns in total on this server. When I first started, the spawn town was in a different location. Not reasonably far from here, but far enough. They've been nicely spread out, and everything's been handled that way. Anyways, and it's interesting because when I first started on this server, I really wasn't interested in doing a group thing. Kind of silly joining a public server when you're not into that, but I just wanted a server where I could kind of quietly play, and there was a big reason for that. The reason is it's a lot harder to grow trees and bushes and get the seasons and snow and all that other fun stuff as you are on a private server, on a LAN server. You got to keep it running all the time. You got to do all those kinds of things, and so it just finally made sense to join a server. But I thought, oh, I could be all by myself and not have to worry about people and all that fun stuff. And for the most part, for the first 6 to say 10 months I played here, I did. Obviously, as you see, since I'm at a public event today, that that isn't the case anymore. It's one of those issues where I kind of finally, eventually decided I had to, to participate and be with people and play, and it's been good overall for me. I don't know if it's been good for the server or not, but anyways, also to this area and this deed you can see parts of off here in front of me, was created by several different players. The current owner is Elfin. I'm not real sure on the lineage of the place. I know Elfin has been here the longest, been here the entire time I've been a part of this group. And I came through here once when I was playing solo, playing hermit style, and I don't know, it just, the area fascinated me. This lake is beautiful. As you'll see as we get to sailing, there's a lot more boat tunnels and things of that nature currently. That's the type of transportation network that the players on this server prefer. I really have no preference. I don't care if it's an above ground canal or a cave tunnel, but it is what it is. And while I wouldn't say I've been a major part of any of the construction projects, I've definitely helped out on a lot of them from time to time. Anyway, and you'll see other deeds in other places, and that's kind of what I liked even when I was a hermit, was just to be able to travel around, and you kind of get the sense of looking at what people are building and wondering, why are they building that, or what are they doing here or there, or so on and so forth. But this is kind of a fun thing to do. The boats don't get used as often, I don't think, in Wurm Unlimited, because we have access to mods and settings that allow us to make land vehicles pretty fast. As you'll see, I'm only doing... Oh, I don't have my counters up on this. I'm not going to change it either. We're probably only doing like 20 kilometers an hour, maybe 22. That's about as fast. Some of the bigger ships you can get in the 30s. But you can do 50 plus in a wagon with hell horses. So it's a fascinating part of this game to me that I never thought about. But I always assumed that people explored and traveled and ran all over the place like I do, and that's not necessarily the case, which was a bit of a surprise to me. There's no right or wrong way to play this game, obviously, but I would always have thought that people would have traveled, given that a lot of times resources aren't necessarily right where you're living, or you want to hunt creatures for food, or so on and so forth. But a lot of players have developed a style where they don't need to leave, and so sometimes traveling can be a bit nerve-wracking for them, and I'm well aware of that. But yeah, you see in some of the different architecture and some of the different things people have done. I mean, this is not done with GMs or with creative mode or anything like that. This is all done by players, and that's the thing that's always fascinated me about Wurm. I mean, you look, well, that boat's kind of sunk, but I'm trying to remember who did this originally, did that building originally. Okay, I think these folks have it figured out. I'm going to go into the tunnel. Oh, hi, Danny. This is one of the...
You disgusting pig!
Okay, so this is a member of staff. This is a game master. Why they're in my boat, I don't know. Okay, there she went. I have to admit that startled me. I'm not even sure if I'm going to leave that in the video or not. Okay, so this is going from... I didn't say the name of the deep, but this is going from Avalon on the lake to... you know what? I'm not going to attempt to describe point A to point B. I will say that for myself personally, this is probably... Hold on, I got to take care of something. But anyway, this tunnel started as... I think this was a genuine 100% project. Because what'll happen sometimes is players will get grand ideas and they'll come up with a plan and they'll start to work on it, and then they will realize that the project is really massive, it overwhelms them, they get burnt out on the game, and then they go away. And while sometimes that can be a bad thing, I think for the most part it happens to everybody, and it's probably the most common affliction in Wurm Unlimited. You have to really kind of understand the process that you're going through. Like, I've had people ask me whether or not, this was admin made or this was made in creative mode. And it's not. I can tell you it's not. 100%. And it's crazy sometimes as I travel around to see the things that players have done. I mean, you're really putting a lot of time and hours and investment into big projects like this. When you're working on your own deed or village, it's one thing. You do a little bit here, and then you do a little bit of this, and then you do a little bit of that. But this is something that you're doing for the entire community, and at times you may be doing it by yourself. You're not gonna, I mean, I volunteered on this and helped as much as I could, but there were times I just didn't really want to work in a cavern, and you're having to make a canal, and then you're making a road that's 2 tiles wide, It's a lot of work. So, we're sailing along here. It's going to be a lot of tunnels on this trip, which is fine, I guess. Well, no, it is fine, but it really is kind of the growth of this area, and this was one of the first connecting tunnels. You know what essentially that a lot of players are doing is making it so you don't have to sail the circumference of the map, and I love it. I struggle sometimes to be able to express that I enjoy stuff like this because I take what a particular game gives me. So if I have to sail the circumference of the map, which I have done because from one of my deeds to another deed, then I'll do it. You know, you just kind of bite the bullet and do it. Taking another screenshot. I kind of got behind the rest of the group, and I may not get as many screenshots as I'd hoped. I find it kind of interesting. I've been playing Wurm online or unlimited. The difference being the online is the MMO, unlimited is the standalone you can buy on Steam, yada yada. I've been playing it since 2012, so I will have been playing it 10 years next year, off and on. Obviously, nobody plays it straight through. Well, that's not true. There probably is somebody. I always am fascinated by deeds and building projects, but also ruins, things that didn't, you know, things that never got finished or things that have now decayed and gone away. You know, stuff like that. Hold on a sec. Chat. Gotta crash into a wall. But at least I got some footage of people on boats. You know, and I noticed that a lot of the younger generation players don't necessarily feel that way about ruins. They think that a GM or a staff member should instantly clean them up and turn them pristine again. And I think that's just such a waste.
Hello, how are you?
Not only can the you know, not only can a lot of stuff that players leave behind be used again, but it also a lot of times helps the player that left it. If they come back and there's at least something there, it encourages them to start again. I can't stress enough for those of you that have never played this game that even in a standalone version with the easier skilling and things of that nature, this is a lot of time and effort. You're going to dedicate a lot of hours. Now, the mistake people make, and I've babbled about this 100 times, is there's nothing that says it has to be you play this game 8 hours a day, 7 days a week. Oh my God, you must do nothing else. You know, a lot of people do that, and a lot of people make this game their only game, and that's great. But you'd be amazed just in a couple hours a day what you can accomplish anyway. And, you know, when you come back, starting over again, if you've left for a long time or if everything you had decays and has gone away, can be a nightmare. I've seen players who have played in the online version for years who can't start in Unlimited because they have to start over from scratch, even with faster skills. You know, it's a rough game, but things like this, when you're sitting here in projects that are players have spent hours and hours working on, it's amazing, the human creativity, even in virtual form. And here we are coming out of the tunnel at Silver Lake, yet another player deed. I'm not sure how much of Silver Lake we'll see. We've got a couple players behind me, so we're kind of waiting on them. It also depends on how I edit this footage. Once again, I can't particularly know at this point how much I'll cut, what I'll cut, where I'll cut, who I'll cut. I'm probably going to go wait over here with Elf because, again, it's the... we got a couple players behind. One of them I'm not worried about. He's well capable of keeping himself together, and the other one, I say himself, I don't know who they are. Anyway, you'll see I'm typing in text and da-da-da-da-da. And, you know, I mean, there is, like, you know, Discord servers for this server and all that fun stuff, but it's just one of those games where the old school text method seems to work the best. I use private messages. Sometimes I'm in the global and general chats. Not often, because I'm a jackass. But as you can see, yeah, we didn't. Yeah, there's a little bit of Silver Lake, which is another player that's been here probably since the start of the server. I'm not entirely sure how long he's been here, but close. And now it looks like it's gonna fog in. We're heading to an island that there's a item in the game called the Wand of the Seas that will make basically an island / volcano for you. I don't know if this island was that or if it was actually players dumping dirt, but as you can see, that down there is the bottom. So if it was players dumping dirt, they dumped a lot. And we'll sail along here for a while. Like I said, this is kind of going along, and people are getting an opportunity to look at things and maybe see parts of the server they've never seen before. We do have a sister server called Novus that people from that server are here on Liberty, the server I'm currently on. Explaining this so professionally, aren't I? I am being a smartass with the professional thing. Somebody made an offhand comment that they meant nothing by, and I took and ran with, because that's what I do. This type of thing is so difficult to edit. I remember when I did the Drake event one where I was tanking, it was so hard to decide what to cut, what not to cut. You know, you got the YouTube standard of 15 minutes and that stuff, which I don't, again, necessarily agree with, much like the professional thing. Oh, you must think of your titles, and you must think of this, and you must think of that. That's like, yeah, you can, but I'm not very entertaining, and this is meant for a very narrow demographic of folks, that most of whom were probably at this event today. You know, it's one of those deals that yeah, professionalism and being slick and cool and actually good at video games probably matters. That would be the same GM that just, here we go again. Go away, Danny. Knucklehead. I've done things to deserve this. We won't discuss what I've done.
You disgusting pig!
That's the same GM from earlier. She's just the dragon now for some reason. I don't ask questions. And God knows if this footage will go in. Although it's funny. Let's pan up and see. Where is she sitting? Oh, okay. She's just I see what she's doing. Yeah. And that's the nice thing about Wurm Unlimited, I will say, is you can do like a LAN server, just your own private server that you run off of your computer. And I have played with the GM tools, so I'm basically familiar with a lot of them. This is fog you're seeing coming in, and I don't know if they've found a way to make it not as thick in Wurm Unlimited. I don't know if there's a server setting. That is one aspect of the game I've not played a lot with. But I do know for a fact that it led to one of the funniest things that ever happened to me in video games when I was a newer player playing Wurm Online, the MMO version. I had just made my first rowboat. It was actually a rowboat that somebody else had started, and I finished because that player quit, and the village mayor let me have the unfinished boat, yada, yada, yada. Anyway, I finished it, got my anchor, was all ready. I was going to go sail. I was going to be a sailor on the high seas. And believe it or not, in either version of the game, when you're a new player and you do something like that, it's such an accomplishment. I've never felt more accomplished playing video games than I do in this game. Even today. Even though I've played it for so long and have so many cool things and have done so many cool things. Anyway, so I sailed out of the harbor and I was away from the village and, you know, I was doing my thing and the fog rolled in and I couldn't see shit. I couldn't see 2 inches in front of my face. This is also one of my boats. I left one of my alts here in case we needed him for anything. He's standing on the dock there. He's just logged off. Anyway, and so I am now lagging. There we go. I kept going in the fog, and I was talking to people in the village chat, and I kept doing things and kept trying to sail and kept trying to find my way, and I kept getting lost, and I started to panic, as you do. I'm thinking I'm going to lose my boat, thinking about all the horror stories I'd heard over the years, you know, about sailors and this, that, and the other thing, and not over the years, but, you know, just like the short time I'd been there. And so, anywho, I decided finally that the best bet would be to do what they were telling me in village, which was to moor my boat, like I just did there, and wait. And I did. And I waited, and I waited, and I waited, and I waited. Kid you not, 45 minutes or more went by, and finally daylight came, and the fog rolled away, and I could see the village I lived in. I was that close to the village, but it was so foggy I had no idea. I still laugh at that. Again, I could do a video alone on what this game has meant to me over the years, because it's just so funny, and I'm going to turn off the player. I have this little mod called ESP that allows me to see players and other things. Completely legal, absolutely acceptable on this server. Handy as hell when you're doing stuff like this. Anywho, this is that was the island I was talking about. I completely forgot to talk about it. Anyway, I don't know if it was... Let's go back. I can catch these guys. I can catch these guys like herding chickens. Yeah, I don't know which way this one was built. I walked up on it on one of my alts yesterday, and I almost want to say it's one of the Wand of the Seas ones, but either way, it's a cool island. There's currently a deed on it. I always thought about deeding one of these spots. There's a few of them on various different places I've been, but I have also seen them where players have dumped dirt in the earth. What's funny is I'm gonna get lost because I'm not fucking paying attention. Oops. I also was gonna try not to curse as much, but like that's ever going to happen. Alright, so this is going to be a lot of ocean. Not much to see, so I'm probably going to cut the footage and come back to you when we get into some canals. And again, when I'm talking about some of these player-built things, lag. You know, I oftentimes have no way of knowing who made them originally, who did what to who, or, you know, so I usually try not to say unless I'm 1,000% correct. But hey, this is gonna get posted on my YouTube channel and the Sklotopolis forum. So you know, you see something you built, put a comment in. This canal you're seeing with these two folks behind me, which would be is probably one of the oldest. I say probably because I've been told that, but I've never really been able to track down who did it originally. I know the person whose name you can read up there possibly had a lot to do with it. When I first moved into this area, it was a little shallow for the bigger boats, so I kind of took some time, or was going to take some time and clean it up, and I never got around to it. I think the particular player whose name's on the bridges there came up and deepened it while I was on a break, and it's awesome because now all ships fit through. Yeah, this game is advanced enough that if the water's not deep enough, a big ship won't go through, and I'll show you what I mean by a big ship here in a minute. We're coming up on one of my deeds now. It's one of my latest. It's the last one I made, or the last one I deeded. You'll see the lighthouse I got going there. It looks a little better at night. I haven't done a deed tour video of it yet because I'm not done with it, and I don't know if I ever will be done with it. I probably should do a deed tour video. This canal that we're coming up to here in front with the bridge is one of the older ones on the server. When I got here, the bridge was a little low for me. I like them like I've got built there. Other players don't like these bigger, taller bridges, but I decided that it needed a little TLC. Now, I have to admit, I didn't have to do much. I just basically had to clean it up, a little bit. I wanted the sides to be fairly smooth so that people could walk on in and out if they needed to, if they got stuck. And then this is my deed. I've got some other ones that I have done detour videos on here in Wurm Unlimited, but this is the one I've done most recently. It's a work in progress, like everything else I do. I really like this deed. It's a really special place, so it's going to be one of the more memorable places for me and important to me. I think that's also why I haven't done a detour on it, simply because I just don't know I don't know how I want to go about it yet. This is the bigger ships I was talking about. This one here, the battle wagon, I had to push it through that canal initially. You'll see some interesting structures back there. That almost deserves a video in and of itself. The story behind that, it's kind of interesting. We'll make our way to the, I won't say it's the newest canal tunnel, but it's close to the newest canal tunnel. We'll see if my recording software decides to stay. I'm not going to be surprised if I only have 4 minutes of footage. We're going to have a jump cut here in a second. We're coming up to the bridge and the latest tunnel, and it's kind of funny. I almost 100% bet that the player who did this tunnel didn't know it, but I had an idea when I first moved to Amarius, my village there, of doing the tunnel in this exact same spot, and for a number of reasons I decided not to do it. Again, because it's such a huge undertaking, and I knew that I would potentially burn out and didn't want to, have a half-finished project. Now, I probably would have done it in a way that nobody would have known. It would have been, not nobody would have known, but it just wouldn't have been a thing. I just would have worked on it quietly, and then when it got done, I'll tell people that it's another shortcut, because it does. To sail to where we started this event today, it cuts the time in. I am not sure if it's half, but it's close. It's close. It's a lot faster to go to Avalon and other deeds, thanks to this tunnel and one other. It's just again, I can't stress enough. It's great to see players doing these kinds of things. Leaving little nooks out like I just posted there. So on and so forth. And now we're going to pop out of that tunnel I just was talking about a minute ago and into what I would technically call Newtown Bay. And straight north of here on the other side, I'm not sailing there, is Newtown, which was as far as I know, the first spawn town. If it wasn't the first, it was darn close. And it's a lot of times with standalone games like this, you'll move the spawns simply to get players to spread out. I've always found it so fascinating that you have all this land and all this area, and players tend to like to settle close to each other. In some cases, I find it a bit too overwhelming. I hesitate to call it rude, because I don't think in most cases the player intends any offense, but humans, I guess the simplest thing to say is humans are herd animals, and they want to be near to each other. I do too, but I like my space. You know, and I think in this particular server, since we do have faster carts and wagons, you know, that need to be near to other players or near to, you know, perceived safety is not necessarily the biggest thing in the world. But again, you have to recognize how different players play this game. And you know, if nothing else, be respectful of that. I think sometimes, whether on purpose or accidental, we're not necessarily respectful of how other people play, and like so many things in life, it could eliminate a lot of nonsense if we just took a minute to go, well, it's not the way I play, but good on them, you know, and go about our day. Okay, I'm gonna shut up and just cut some footage. After I take you to the steed, let's see if I can do it without running over. I've never actually seen this player online. Maybe once, 10,000 years ago. But he has created an incredible deed. As you can see, I'm getting rid of my UI so I can take some pictures of it. Yeah, I mean, one of his buildings is fairly blocky, but it's the sheer amount of resources that are in those structures. That's unbelievable, and sometimes big fortresses are fun. I don't know if it was him or somebody else, but there's some dirt here I'm watching on the map. Why I have my mini-map back up. I ran into it earlier. I've actually done this portion of the course before. I did it to sail over to start the event, because I wanted to be in my own boat. So I didn't have any issues. Anyway, I'm going to shut up now, and then when we get into the next tunnel, I'll tell you about that one, and we'll probably wrap up the video. Anyway, I did not get through this tunnel. I did not get through this tunnel. Gee, that's a way to come back. I am now in the Lady of the Lake / BG Town tunnels. I couldn't get much of BG Town on video without getting out of the boat, and that was not the point of this exercise. It was one of the first towns, if I recall right, and why are people going the wrong effing way? Sorry. And not one of the first towns, but it's a very old settlement. It was made by a player who I think's been here since the server started. Again, I don't have exact information. The server started in 2015. I came here in fall of 2016. That's but the only exact information I have. Oh, I'm getting run over. Anywho, so now we have this tunnel got upgraded. It got turned into a highway from a single lane, as well as I think they worked on the canal some. I came in and kind of helped open the second lane here on the road. Again, won't say I did a lot of work, but I did some. Probably one of the funniest things I did was there used to be a tunnel along here somewhere that went up and out of the mountain. We changed things around so that was no longer needed. And there were some drop shafts that needed to be fixed, and oh, that was some of the most work I think I've ever done in this game, as far as, you know, just how would I put it, just it was terrifying, because if you fall in a drop shaft and can't use the climbing skill to get out, you're gonna have to put in a support ticket and get a GM. And while that wouldn't have been a massive hassle on a private standalone server, it was not something I wanted to do. I thought I was actually going to use a sorcery spell or a magic or a priest spell to fix the drop shafts. That was not the case. It was a lot of concrete was what ended up fixing it. But it was fun, and it was all part of the experience. And this goes back to where we started, and I will probably cut the footage here and rejoin you when I come out of that tunnel. Okay, I'm out of the tunnel, and I think I've pretty much. Nope, they're still killing it. The end of the event is a fight with a sea serpent. It is currently hurt. I will target it here in a minute. Look, attacks, target. And now we'll have a little sea serpent fight. See if I can get... I'm not going to be able to get any close enough, I don't think. Oh, this is going to be a mess of epic proportions. Okay. And this is kind of what fighting looks like. Oh, this is going to be a mess on film. But the good news is these guys aren't super strong. That's not oh no, yeah. It's kind of comical. I can almost guess anymore which players are doing what for who to who for how many cookies. It's pretty hilarious. And there we go. Okay, now I'm mumbling to myself like a hobo. I wonder if they've noticed that there's a second one down there. I'm actually going to watch this one from afar. I'm not even going to bother with trying to fight it. You don't see these in game too often spawn naturally, so they use them a lot of time at events, and it's kind of a neat way to end this. I mean, these guys have basically just been sailing around, getting little trinkets and treasures out of chests, and it's just been a fun event for them all. A different type of event and a fun type of event. I might have a little more thoughts after I take a few more screenshots and get back to the dock, but I'll wrap it up in a minute. Okay, so I think that's pretty much wrapped up the event. As you can see, everybody's sailing back. I'm actually going to turn off my little player symbol. It is a fun event. This is an area that has seen a lot of players come and go, but a lot of players that have stayed for years. It's a nice chance for the community to get out, hang out. We had one or two players get lost, but that's part of the game. That's part of, playing a survival crafting game. And I would say that the players on this server are... I hate throwing around the title most helpful or this, that, and the other thing, but there's a good community here. And there's a lot of players who are willing to go the extra mile to help, and events like this show you that in spades, as far as I'm concerned. Ooh, I used the cliche in spades. It just shows that everybody's willing to, kind of have fun and hang out. And so... until the next time I decide to do something, be it in Wurm Unlimited or other, I'm out of here. See you, people.